Folks, Trump's win is not just a political win, but I honestly believe that it is mainly a cultural win. Today, we will go down why I believe that it is a cultural win, possibly the biggest cultural win in the last decades. We'll go down those things. We will analyze why I believe in such a thing. And we might also talk about a little bit why Kamala lost, but I'm not going to focus on that. Tomorrow's video is going to be more focused on the reasons why Kamala and the Democratic Party got obliterated. I think that the reasons are clear, but we will go down them. But folks, this is a big cultural win. There is no doubt about it. I think that this win is going to change, it's going to shift the culture because we live in a society where the woke culture was gaining more and more people. We could say this on the degree, or at least it was, getting more and more popular, to say it in a better way. And now the woke culture hopefully is going to be gone, or at least it's going to be severely nerfed, and severely stopped. I believe that, with a Trump win, it can happen. I already saw some videos of him saying that he's going to ban gender reaffirming surgeries for minors in all 50 states, and I hope he does it. That would be really great. That would be a great thing. I think he started well. He started his campaign, or at least his appointment of people. He started appointing people well, and more importantly, I think that, since becoming president-elect, I think that he's been doing great things. He is set to call Putin in order to discuss a potential peace deal with Ukraine and to stop the war there. He's told Netanyahu that he has to end the war in Gaza by the time he gets into office, which is very great. And if he were to keep his promises, because he said that he was going to stop the war in Ukraine within the time he got sworn in, he's got still 3 months to go, and I think he can do it. I hope he does do it, and I think he can do it. Then, he's also promised that he's going to stop the war in Gaza, and I hope he can do it. And I also hope that, the tensions with Lebanon and Iran definitely ease, because that would be really great. And, we would end a humanitarian crisis, and that would be really helpful, I think, for the world as a whole. But this is a big cultural win, because in the last years, we've seen, and with Kamala, I think it would have been even worse. We've seen the culture shift drastically towards the left. And again, I'm not right leaning, I'm not left leaning, but the problem is, or at least I'm not a Republican. I probably am right leaning, but it doesn't matter. What's important here is that this shift that the culture will have is really important, because it feels like now we can make jokes again without being called racists. We can make jokes again without being called bigots. We can make jokes again without being deemed as horrible names. And I think it's a great thing. And when it comes to the woke culture, which hasn't been as destructive in Europe as it has been in America, however, whatever happens in America happens in the West 6 months afterwards, or at least a couple of years afterwards. It's always been that way. And the woke culture is very dangerous. I've seen people on X, I've seen transgender people, or at least people who were tricked into this woke culture garbage, who are now, coming out and telling their stories and saying why they support Trump. And there are reasons for that, because allowing children to transition, allowing children to do gender affirming surgery at 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15 years old is nothing short of an assassination, basically. It's more or less the same. You ruin that person's life. It's even worse than an assassination, you could argue, because that person is going to suffer for the rest of their life. And the problem is that this woke culture garbage has allowed and has made people buy into the nonsense that children tell. If an 8-year-old says that he feels like a dinosaur, he doesn't have to go in transition dressed like a dinosaur. He's just an idiot because he's an 8-year-old. Like, we don't have to buy into the BS of children. We don't have to. It's just as simple as it gets. It is normal as a teenager maybe sometimes to feel, a little bit like a woman, a little bit like a man, all those sorts of things, but you just go through that phase, and then when you're 18, 19 years old, you're already fine. It is possible that some teenagers feel like that. But to tell your teenagers to transition and change your gender is dangerous, is unacceptable, is very detrimental, and it cannot be done. And Trump is going to stop this garbage. he said that he's gonna pass a bill that's gonna make, the USA recognize two genders and that they are assigned birth, and the two genders obviously are male and female, the only two genders that exist.
I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth.
Non-binary stuff, there are only two genders, the others are mental illnesses. Just to make this clear, just to say it there, just to set the record straight, And this is a cultural win because this woke culture is going to come to an end, hopefully, or at least it's going to be stopped drastically. We're going to see fewer people transitioning, fewer people buying into the bullshit. And that's a very great thing. Then also, I think that Trump is an imposing masculine figure. I would argue he is. We've seen him in the assassination attempt. He's the crazy guy, he's the crazy dude, he's the billionaire. And I feel like the world needs masculinity. This has been a very big topic on the internet, with figures rising and having and making billions of views talking about those things. But I feel like the reason we have people like the Tate brothers, maybe, or I'm not saying they're good or they're bad, but I'm just saying this, I think that we have to look at issues at a deeper level. We cannot say, oh, the Tates or Jordan Peterson or whoever, they're bad. We can't just say that. We need to do something else. We need to go down the rabbit hole and we need to understand why certain things are happening. That's what we need to do. The reason why these people have become popular is because there is a vacuum that has to be filled, and it's because young men feel disenfranchised. I mean, I'm a young boy, not man. That's a big word. Not every 18-year-old or not every male is a man. You're born a male, you become a man. That's something I believe in, and I'm yet to become a man, of course. So the reason why we have people, as I said, the reason why we have these figures rising and these figures, getting more and more popular is because the youth feels disenfranchised, especially the masculine youth feels disenfranchised. How can you solve this problem? Well, stop telling boys that, being masculine is wrong. Stop doing that. We need to stop doing that, and we need to stick up for ourselves. And that's why I'm so interested in these issues, and that's why I'm so outspoken. And that's why I don't care. I mean, I will be attacked in the future, I'm certain. I don't care. It's going to be fine. That's what I want. And I feel that the Trump win can bring masculinity back. If Kamala had won, no masculinity, all homosexual. I've got nothing against homosexuals. I've got nothing against lesbians. But, traditional families would have been problematic, or at least they would have been seen as bad. Woke culture would have, got bigger and bigger and bigger, all those sorts of things. With Trump, it feels like masculinity can be back a little bit. We can start making jokes again without being called racists or misogynists. I make racist jokes with my friends. I make homophobic jokes with my friend. That doesn't mean I'm a racist. That doesn't mean I'm a misogynist. That's just, or homophobic. That's just, having fun with your friends and with your people. And I feel like that the culture is going to shift again towards the right, because Trump is right-leaning, towards the right. And I think it is going to shift towards common sense. And the Democratic Party hasn't been pushing common sense. All of these women in men's sports, which is very dangerous, illegal aliens coming into the country. And I feel like that if Trump manages to do certain things, like stop the transgender garbage and stop the woke culture garbage, if he manages to do a mass deportation, if he manages to carry out a mass deportation, he can inspire Europe to do that too. As a European, I'm very interested in that, because if my country and if the countries in Europe started carrying out mass deportations and started, being harsher when it comes to the border, when it comes to immigration, I think that we can do great stuff. And I think that the culture of the West can come back. The West can come back. Like, this Trump win is vital. Because with a Kamala Harris win, what we would have gotten would have been abortion up to the 9th month in every state, basically, or at least stuff like that. Woke culture through the roof. Transgenderism through the roof. All of these things through the roof. And masculinity was going to come to an end. And femininity, genuine femininity and genuine masculinity would have, would have been deemed as crazy, and people who are genuinely masculine or genuinely feminine would have felt disenfranchised and ostracized. And with a Trump win, and if he manages to do the things he wants to do, and I hope he does, Trump needs to carry out the mass deportation. This is not just a win because it's great for America and it is great, for the country. This is a win because it is great for the culture. Because if what America does, Europe does it afterwards. So if the standard, and if Trump manages to carry out a mass deportation, then we will see European countries do the following too. And that's great because mass deportation is needed. European countries, I talked about this, and America are being invaded by immigrants, illegal immigrants, which is not great. So this is a major win for the culture. This is a major win for the culture. Masculinity can come back, or at least, being a little bit more masculine, it can come back, which is very great and which is needed. True family, values, religion, maybe it's going to be less mocked. Probably it's going to be less mocked. We will stop having religion being mocked. I believe that in the 2028 Olympics, and I hope that Trump doesn't disappoint me here, I believe that we will not see the horrendous representation of the Last Supper we saw with the 2024 Olympic, that shit that they displayed. I hope that we will not see that again. I think we won't see that again. I think we will see a great presentation of the Olympics because Trump's going to be in charge. If Kamala had been in charge, guys, could you imagine what would have been the 2028 Olympics ceremony, the opening ceremony of the Olympics? Could you imagine, like the one in 2024 with France? There was a homosexual and who was running the opening ceremony, and they did all of that BS with the people naked. In 2028, in the Olympics, with Trump as president, we should not see that. If we were to see that, I would be really angry at Trump and at the Republicans who are in charge of America. But this is a massive cultural win. No more Christianity mocked, or at least less. Harsher crimes, harsher sentences on immigrants who commit crimes. Patriotism, nationalism, America first, your country first, your people first. These are all things that Europe needs in order to come back. We need a degree of nationalism. We need national sovereignty. We need patriotism. We need to put our country and our people first, because there is no greater sign of disloyalty to a country than allowing immigrants to come into the country and being considered as important as your people. There is no greater sign of disloyalty than that. We need patriotism. We need nationalism, which doesn't mean be Hitler. Let me be clear. It doesn't mean be Hitler. But we need a degree of those things. And if Trump, those things will be back, we will see more European leaders and leaders all around the world being inspired by his win and be, okay, we can be nationalistic. The political correctness garbage, it can come to an end. Finally, this politically correct garbage can come to an end. This BS can come to an end. We can stop being politically correct.
We have to stop with political correctness. We have to get down to creating a country that's not going to have the kind of problems that we've had.
We can say stuff in a very straightforward way again, rather than this stupid language that politicians use with this political correctness bullshit that they say, things like, oh, I might have offended this person, it's offensive to this guy. It's not offensive. It's just reality. You have to be a realist, you have to be a rationalist. And with Trump, as I said, political correctness out of the window. It is out of the window. It is out of the way. We throw it out. Then patriotism is back. Nationalism is back. And those are very important things. If we want to save the West, if the West wants to win, and if the West wants to keep being the place of the world, the best place of the world, we need a degree of nationalism. We need to say to people who come in and want to impose the rules, no, get the hell out of here, we don't want you. And with Kamala, none of this would have happened. It's just none of this would have happened. With Trump, it can happen. He changes the culture. Because he's this imposing figure, there's no political correct figure because he's not politically correct, and it's great, guys. It is great. And hopefully, the cultural shift will be so big that it's going to be difficult for the far left woke garbage to come back. I hope it is so big, the cultural shift, that the far left garbage can honestly never come back, or at least never come back as much as it is now. I genuinely hope that's the case. So this is a massive win, guys. This is a massive win for the culture, and we should celebrate this win. Will it be a political win? I hope it will. And my biggest fear with Trump, and I've never talked about this because I've always talked about Trump positively, but now we'll be a little bit critical. I think that, I mean, Trump isn't as based and more than based. Trump isn't as, I think, unapologetic as it was in 2016. Something's happened. I think that he's been threatened. It is possible because, I mean, Trump, I think that Trump would like to take revenge and, take revenge on some people, but I don't think he can do it. I don't think he can go after some people now because if he does that, he's gonna get killed. That's a big problem. And I genuinely hope that he's not controlled by lobbyists and donors and by Zionists. I hope he puts the American people first, genuinely. I hope he's a patriot. I hope he's a nationalist. And I hope he doesn't fill his administration with people who aren't loyal and with people who are therefore disloyal and with people who aren't great. I hope he appoints great people. I hope he hires great people. And I hope that he doesn't have, establishment people who we don't want. We want to defeat the establishment, and we need guys to thank also Elon Musk for X, because if he hadn't bought X, Trump wouldn't have won the election. And if the things he did wouldn't have happened, you know, Trump wouldn't have won the election. So we really need to thank Elon too. And this is a massive cultural win, guys. If you agree with me, please subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts, and see you next time.